Hi y'all, today we're going to be reviewing how to tell time on an analog clock to the nearest 5 minutes, and we'll be learning about how to tell if the time is AM or PM. To start, we're going to sing, or in my case, just read, this little song that helps us remember which hand is the hour hand and which hand is the minute hand. So I'm a little hour hand, short and slow. I tell the hour and start the show. I'm a long minute hand, big and fast. I tell the minute and come in last. So we know the hour hand is the short hand. And when it comes in between two numbers, like it is on this clock, it is the number that the hour hand just passed, or the one that comes before it. So this hour hand is between 2 and 3. So the hour would be 2. It has not yet reached the 3. So it is still 2. For the minutes, we have to skip count by 5, starting at the 1 to know how many minutes it is. So I've already labeled this clock to help us. We start at the 1 because when the minute hand is pointing at the 12, that means a new hour just started and there are no minutes. So we would start at the 1 and go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and then the next number would be 60. There's 60 minutes in an hour. That means that that hour just finished when the minute hand is pointing at the 12, so we go back to 0. So let's practice telling the time here. So we want to start with the hour hand. That's the short one. It looks like it's between the 4 and the 5, and we know that the hour is the number it just passed, or the number before the hour hand, and that would be 4. So I know the hour is 4. Now I'm going to look at the long hand for the minutes. It's pointing at the 9, which we already labeled, is 45 minutes. Most clocks aren't labeled like this, so if we weren't sure, we would skip count by 5, starting at the 1 to know how many minutes it was. So this clock is showing 4:45. So now I've got a clock that is not labeled that I want you to try on. So you're going to pause the video, maybe quickly write it down on something, or at least think it in your head, and then press play when you're ready to talk about it. Pause. Welcome back. So hopefully when you were trying to tell the time, you started with the hour hand, the short one. You saw it was between 8 and 9, and you knew that the hour was the number that it just passed, which would be 8. Then you looked at the long hand for the minutes. This clock is not labeled, so you started skip counting by 5 at the 1, and you went 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So you knew the minutes were 35, so the full time would be 8:35. So now we've got one where the minute hand is pointing right at the 12. We already talked about that means that a new hour just started. So looking at that hour hand, it's pointing at the 6. This clock is showing 6 o'clock. Well, when I think about the time 6 o'clock, I eat breakfast at 6 o'clock, but on many days I also eat dinner at 6 o'clock. But I don't think it's the same 6 o'clock. So how can I know the difference? Well, when I look at the clock in my kitchen and I'm eating breakfast, it says 6 a.m. When I look at the clock when I'm eating dinner, it says 6 p.m. So it's that a.m. and p.m. that can help me know, is it time for me to eat breakfast or is it time for me to eat dinner? I hope I can also know by just looking out the window, or if I just woke up, or if I'm getting ready for bed. But this is how I could also tell somebody else the exact time that it is. So a full day has 24 hours in it. And the reason this is because our Earth takes 24 hours to complete one rotation on its axis, which causes day and night. Axis is just talking about the middle of the Earth. So most of you probably know that the Earth orbits the sun, but it's also spinning around itself. And that's not as important for you to focus on right now, but definitely read up on it if you're interested. But it takes 24 hours for the Earth to rotate, and that is what causes us to have day and night. But if you notice on a clock, well, I threw this in there to say, hey, if you've seen 24 hours, open 24 hours on a McDonald's or anywhere else, then you know it's open all day, all night. That's why it says 24 hours. But I want us to notice this clock. The clock does not have 24 hours on it. It only has 12. And the reason for this is that our time system splits up the day into two 12-hour chunks. So we have one 12-hour chunk where it's AM, and we have another 12-hour chunk where it's PM. So we just have to know, when is it AM, when is it PM? Because each hour is going to repeat through the day. There's 2 3 o'clocks, there's 2 4 o'clocks, there's 2 5 o'clocks. They're all going to repeat, once for AM, once for PM. So that's why we need to add that on to know which one it is. So let's start with AM. 12 AM is actually the middle of the night. That's when, well, for us, it's, we're sleeping probably. We should be sleeping. But technically, that's when a new day starts. So every new day starts at midnight, 12 AM, and then it's AM all the way up to noon. That's like the middle of the day when it's 12 PM. Let's start here. It's midnight. You're probably sleeping. Then it becomes 1 AM, 2 AM, 3 AM, 4 AM. I hope you're still sleeping at this time. 5 AM, I'm supposed to be getting up. Sometimes I snooze. I should be up by 6 AM that's when I said I'm eating breakfast. I better be at school by 7 AM because we're starting school. And then we're in school going on to 8, 9, 10, 11 AM. Once it is 11:59 AM and we go to the next minute, it becomes 12 PM. It is now PM for the rest of the day. So let's look at some things that are happening during this AM time. So we want to be clear on, it is both dark and light outside when it's AM. When it first becomes AM and that new day starts, it is dark outside. Again, it's middle of the night. We should be sleeping. And it's going to be dark probably up to like 6 AM when it starts, the sun's going up and it's light outside. And then it's daytime, up until till it becomes 12 PM. And it's going to still be light, but we're just switching over to 12 PM to say, all right, it's now the middle of the day. So let me think of some things that I am doing during AM. Well, we already said when it first starts, I should be sleeping. It's the middle of the night. But then once it gets to like 5 AM, maybe for me like 5:30, I'm waking up. I need to get ready for school. I need to eat breakfast. And then at 7:10, the bell rings here. I need to start school. So these are some things that I am doing during AM. Now let's think of PM. Again, 12 PM starts when AM ends, and that's the middle of the day. So it is light outside. And then it goes on to 1 PM, 2 PM, we're still in school, 2:20 PM, school ends. And then if you're here at school, you're going home, it becomes 3 PM, this is AM, it should say PM, sorry. 5 PM, 6 PM, 7 PM, 8 PM, 9 PM, 10 PM. Okay, hopefully by this time you're asleep. We all might have different bedtimes, but I'm definitely in bed, by 10 PM, and I should be asleep when it becomes 11 PM. And then a new day is going to start when we hit midnight, and it's 12 AM again, new day. So again, when PM starts, it is still light outside. It is the middle of the day. We're getting ready for lunch at like 12:30. Sometimes you might have it sooner, sometimes you might have it later, but often we're having lunch when it's PM. And so it is light outside until it changes depending on the season. But like in this chart showing, all right, by 8 PM, it is definitely, the sun has gone down and it's going to be dark outside. And it's going to stay dark for the rest of that time. And then it's going to be that new day. And we've already talked about with AM. AM starts with it still being dark outside. What we're seeing here is that for both AM and PM, it is both light and dark. So we can't think of one of them as only light or one of them as only dark because both of them happen. So let me think about some things that I'm doing during PM. So like I said, we're eating lunch. I'm going to leave school when school is over around, well, it depends on the day, but school ends at 2:20. I'm going to eat dinner. I'm going to get ready for bed, and I'm going to go to sleep all during PM. So here it is all put together. And we want to remember, here's a little note here, that AM and PM are often confused because some people think that it has to be light outside to be AM and that it has to be dark outside for it to be PM. But that's just not true. As we saw, AM starts with it being dark outside and it becomes light. And as we move into PM, it's still light. And it's going to be light for a while until the sun goes down, and then it's dark for the rest of PM. But both AM and PM have light and dark parts. So let's practice using what we just learned to tell the time with AM or PM. So school starts at this time. So I want you to write the time, the hour and the minutes, with AM or PM. Pause. Welcome back. So hopefully you looked at the hour hand first and saw that it's in between 7 and 8. So that means it just passed the 7. The hour is 7. The minute hand's pointing at 8. So if we skip count by 5 starting at the 1, it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So the time is 7:40 and it is AM. When we start school, it is light outside. It is the morning. That is AM. We have recess at this time. Tell the time using AM or PM. Pause. Welcome back. So again, we're going to look at that hour hand first. It's between the 11 and 12 here. So we're going to go with the number before it, which is 11. Looking at the minute hand, it's pointing at 3. So we're going to skip count by 5, starting at the 1, going 5, 10, 15. All right, so the time is 11:15. Is it AM or PM? Well, if it was 11:15 PM, I should be asleep. So it should be AM in the morning. Great. Next one, school ends at this time. Tell the time using AM or PM. Pause. Welcome back. Let's again look at that hour hand first. Now it's between the 2 and 3. That means it just passed the 2. The hour is 2. The minute hand is pointing at the 4. And if we skip count by 5 starting at the 1, it's 5, 10, 15, 20. So school ends at 2:20. Now let's think about the AM or PM. If it was 2:20 AM, that's only 2 hours after midnight. It is still dark outside. So it should be 2:20 PM. Last one. The sun sets at this time. Tell the time using AM or PM. Pause. Welcome back. So let's look at that minute hand. Oh, no, look at the hour hand. And that's the short hand in between the 5 and 6. So that means it is 5 for the hour because that is the number that comes before it. The minute hand is pointing right at the 6. I don't think I need to count for this one because I know that's halfway through the hour. That's 30 minutes. But if we were to check it, it would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So the time is 5:30. And if the sun is setting, then it has to be PM. So the time is 5:30 PM. All right, friends, I hope this helped clear up for you how to know when it's AM or PM. And you know, the great thing about knowing how to tell time is that when you've got a clock around, you don't have to ask anybody else anymore. You don't need to ask your teachers or grown-ups at home. Take a look at that clock and read it yourself, and you'll know what time it is. All right, have a great rest of your day.